Okay, trying another one. A key phrase here is constant speed. From what we did with the horizontal questions before, that should sort of jump out to you. That means something in the physics world that's important. If something's going at a constant speed, if we think about the free body diagram, whatever's pushing it forward, we'll call it F applied. The exact same force must be opposing backwards. And in this case, that's the force of friction. We've got a gravity force that's pointing straight down. The question doesn't say anything about this textbook being on a trampoline and flying in the air or some sort of weird elevator thing. So the normal force, that's straight up. I'm going to call this the boring case. Since the question doesn't say anything cool happening in the vertical, that means that the normal is exactly the same as gravity. Gravity is always m times g, so the normal's got to be mg. Okay, now backtracking to that constant speed part. Since it says it's going at a constant speed, that tells us that the forward force has to be exactly the same as the backwards force. If the forward force were bigger, it would speed up. If the backward force were bigger, it would slow down. Since it's going at constant speed, I know that the applied force has to be exactly the same as friction. Friction is always, always, always mu times Fn. We just did a little bit of thinking down here to say that Fn is mg. So that tells us that if we do that substitution, the forward force must be mu times mg. In grade 11, we're going to see this often. The friction force is going to end up being mu times Fn, and the Fn is going to end up being mg. So we're often going to get that mu mg expression. For the numbers I made up, for this one, we knew that the pushing force was 4. That was what was given. So the forward force was 4. So 4 equals mu. The mass was given as 1.2, and then g is always 9.8. When you do the math on that and flip things around, we get a mu of roughly 4 over 12-ish, or 0.34. So 2 key steps to this one. Whenever a question involves the coefficient of friction, you have to find the normal force, so we did that right off the bat. Often it's going to be normal is equal to gravity in grade 11, but that'll change once we get going. And then the second important thing in this one is constant speed means that the forces have to be balanced.